Guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope everybody is doing well. So you may or may not be aware, it's actually the Master System's 40th anniversary this year, and I'm going to be putting together as many videos as I can. I don't make as many videos as I used to, but I hope you enjoy this one. The idea really is just to share a few other enthusiasts just like me to share their journey with you guys in terms of what the Master System means. I'll go first. So I was 11. No, that's a lie. 10. When I first saw a Master System in somebody else's house. I was around his house for his birthday. I think his mum knew my mum, and I was there, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing in front of me. Absolutely phenomenal. I'd seen them playing Double Dragon, and I couldn't believe what was just happening in front of my eyes, and I waited my turn eagerly. Had a very quick go. Absolutely loved it. Blew my mind. Double Dragon. And I get so much nostalgia now even talking about it. And I pecked my mum for my own birthday a few weeks later. I saw a second-hand Master System in the second-hand shop at the end of our road. It then disappeared. I looked at it every morning on the way to school, and then it was just gone. Little did I know that my mum had bought it for me, and a few days later she gave it to me, and the rest is history. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the video of everybody putting what the Master System means to them. Thanks ever so much.
Hey up everyone, Retro Rewind here, or just Clint if you want to know me, that is my name. Ollie's reached out to me, my good buddy, 8-Bit Boy UK, yes. He's doing a bit on the Master System apparently, that's why I'm here talking to you guys. As you can see behind me, the Master System wall, I have a huge collection, over 300 games, full power set, 269 games. I've got the kicks, I've got classics, cards, and a handful of the US and some home brews, imports, that kind of thing. And yeah, I've got a few consoles and stuff behind me, you can see there. So grew up with the, well, I've never really grown up. Grown up with the Master System. I remember getting the Sega Master System 2 Alex Kidd box, which is right behind me, for Christmas. And obviously it came with Alex Kidd built in. No other games. That's what I got. I got that with no other games. So I played Alex Kidd, I would say probably the most of any Master System game I've ever played, even though I'm trying to play all through the collection now. Because I only had that game built in, I played it and played it and played it. I used to take the console around to mate's house to play it, or if they had another game, I used to borrow games off people. To obviously, if any they didn't like playing, I remember Pro Wrestler, stuff like that, people lending me to play Afterburner sort of stuff, before I started buying a few used games from the local car boot and etc., that kind of thing. But it was a good Christmas getting that. I was really excited about getting it. Alex Kidd was definitely a great game built into play. As I say, I played it a lot, so much, and completed it. I remember actually bringing the Master System downstairs in the kitchen with a little 14-inch colour TV and playing it with my mate who lived 2 doors down, was taking in turns playing it. And then I remember him going off, having his tea, and I was having my tea and playing it at the same time. And I actually completed it at the kitchen table. And it's a great completion, because back then no cheats, no guides to go through or anything like that. So yeah, that was a great memory completing that. I remember running into the living room, showing my mum and dad, look, come and look at this, I've completed this game. So yeah, great fond memory of that. And the system's great. I love playing it. Obviously I do my Tuesday 10-minute teaser, not trying to put my channel on someone else's channel, but every Tuesday or Thursday I try to get in here and play. I'm playing through the Master System games. I'm through to nearly S now. I'm just in the R's at the minute. I'm just yeah, it's got so many great games. I would say up there my favourite games, because obviously I've not played all of them, but I will eventually. But back in the day, Action Fighter, I remember having that game. It's such a brilliant game. I still play it today. I still sometimes just come in here for half hour of a quick going action fire. Love that game. Castle of Illusion, which I remember completing as a kid, or I can't remember if I completed the kid or got to the last boss. So the other month I got off the shelf and right, let's tick this memory off. Did I complete it or did I not? And I completed it. So I'm sure I remember completing it as a kid. I was unsure if it was the Mega Drive or the Master System, so I had to do the Master System. So yeah, that's another great game. Great games on the system. There's so many. I've enjoyed playing through it. It's been great. There's been some dog poos on there, you know, like Championship Hockey, one of the most expensive games for the Master System, but so bad. It's just awful. And yet you can pick up some games for £5 or £10, which are really good. They're out there. There's some cheap games out there. I know everyone can emulate and stuff like that. I also remember at some point owning a Mark 1. Not actually a Mark 1, just the original Master System. I think I got one after the Master System 2 just to see what the difference was. And I remember having the game Snail Maze built in. I remember playing that. So it was weird to get that. And then I got the Mega Drive. And I can't remember what happened to my Master System 2. I think I sold it, because that's what you did back then. You sold something to get the next console. So I got the Mega Drive. So I shouldn't say Mega Drive, I took a Master System. But yeah, amazing memories. I love the Master System. And it's probably what got me collecting, because I always wanted a few shelves of games for the Master System back in the day, and now I have it, and I can't see myself letting go. I've wondered hard about selling up so many times. I've been offered people to buy my whole collection, all the big hitters. I don't know, I just like walking into this room and seeing all that on the wall. I am due to have a bit of an upgrade in here, and I'm thinking of moving the Master System, and it's going to run the whole length of the wall with all the consoles up on the wall and everything, and then all the other mediocre consoles like the SNES and the Mega Drive and the N64 can sit below it, below the power of the Master System, because it is obviously one of the greatest consoles ever made. So yeah, I hope this is informational enough for Ollie. This is the video I'm sending him, so if he's put this on, it's obviously worked a treat. But yeah, anyone who hasn't played a Master System, they need to get on it, because it's such a good console. I'm going to say it, I picked up a NES to see what that was all about, and I still go back to the Master System. I think it's just a far greater console, and yeah, you're going to get pulled in, aren't you, with nostalgia and all over childhood. But yeah, thanks very much. Back over to Ollie again, and yeah, take care everyone, and play the Master System. I'm telling you now, play the Master System. It's amazing. Take care everyone.
So funny enough, this was a story that come up a couple of hours ago when I was chatting to someone, and my memory is of Action Fighter. No, not the magnifying glass and the wing mirror thing. Like, even now I know that's a wing mirror, it'll always be a magnifying glass to me. Yeah, it's one of my favourite games on the Master System. I remember, like I said, when I got this with my Master System along with one of my other favourite games, Wonder Boy, I only got this. Oh, and on another note, I never knew until now that AF was on a number plate. That's the first time I've ever noticed it. All the years I've played this game, so yeah, if Ollie didn't ask me to do this, I probably would never have noticed AF on that number plate. See, Action Fighter, the gift that keeps on giving. No, but like I said, I remember looking at the catalogue, used to circle stuff, and obviously I'd circled the Master System, circled Wonder Boy, and then obviously my Santa fund was low, and I think I was down to a couple of pound left, and this was probably about a tenner, and I thought, oh, Action Fighter, I thought, it looks crap, because I couldn't see anything on the back, that's all you could see. I thought, it looks rubbish, but we'll give it a go, and as it happened, it ended up being one of my favourite games ever. So yeah, just a little memory from me, and the added note of AF on a number plate. So yeah, love me some Action Fighter. As I said, the gift that keeps on giving. All the best.
At some point, my parents decided I was playing too much video games, so I was prevented from playing them anymore. The first thing they did is they set up a pin card on the TV so I couldn't use the TV. But of course, I quickly realized that if I unplug the TV for a few hours, it would reset the pin code somehow. I guess the pin code was stored on sort of like volatile memory. When you unplug the TV for too long, it would clear itself. So that's one thing I did. And then I had the Master System plugged in. I played the game, and when my parents were in the house, I would pause the game. I would unplug the video cable from the TV and put it laying on the floor so that it would be very visibly disconnected. And I would keep the Master System powered on, right? Paused with no connection to TV, only the AC adapter. And it would stay like that for hours, maybe for a day. And then the next day I show up and I plug the video cable back and I unpause the game and I would keep playing. And somehow it worked. It didn't crash the system or anything, but the system was powered on for like days, for one game session.
So my life with the Sega Master System actually started with this Outrun in the arcade. Visiting arcades during summer holidays, particularly on the east coast of England, Mablethorpe, Skegness. I wanted to play this Buggy Boy, Wonder Boy at home on a TV. So I think it was Christmas 1987. I asked for a Spectrum Plus 2 because you could get all of those games on that. Came to Christmas morning, opened the presents, and there was a Sega Master System there. I was a bit surprised. I hadn't asked for it. I didn't even know what it was. Turns out my parents had heard, I think, a local radio advert for the Master System, in particular that you could get Outrun on it. So that's where it started. It was the first release Master System, so it had Hang-On on a card, Snail Maze built in, and it had the now super rare controllers with the thumbstick that you could screw in, and particularly the side exiting cable. I remember those being really difficult to hold and ended up holding them in a weird fashion, like crossing my hands over, but it worked. When I went back in school, it turns out a couple of other friends had got one as well, and so we sort of formed this small group where, particularly because of the price of the games that were like £25–30 back then, which is probably Switch 2 prices now, we wouldn't all buy the same games. We'd talk to each other, what were we going to get, what have we already got, so we didn't duplicate. So we had this big library of games together. So I had, Outrun, Action Fighter, Afterburner, Thunderblade, Wonder Boy 3. Others would have Double Dragon, Shinobi, Alex Kidd. And between us, we'd either go around each other's houses or we'd swap games for a bit so we could, spend time on that bigger collection. Memories for me in terms of best games, obviously Outrun, finishing all the different routes on that and just constantly playing that because of the music as well, which was a fairly decent port. But I do remember playing Wonder Boy 3, amazing game, still is today. I remember before school, so secondary school, in the mornings a mate would come around, we'd put the West 1 cheat code in and we just finished the very last level so we could watch the end sequence, which was really cinematic. We'd do that, straight out the door, straight to school. So I probably had back then maybe 15–20 games, and I had a younger brother, 8 years younger, and he was more into Nintendo. But as I got a bit older, moved into like Amiga and PC type games, I actually gave him the Master System. So it's actually still his, or in the family certainly. So he's still got my or our original Master System. But there was probably a gap of like 30 years before I started collecting again. So only 2 or 3 years ago, got myself another box Master System, started collecting all the games again. Really expensive, wish I'd started collecting earlier, but up to about 230 at the moment and still pushing for that UK PAL set. But back then you had that community of friends, and today there's still that community of people that are really passionate about Sega, really passionate about the Master System, And who called it Sega then? Or did you call it Sega? Because the Master System, you couldn't hear what it said until the Game Gear came out. So the Sega or Sega Master System, my all-time favourite console, still pushing for the full collection. I will never sell them.
Hey up, Ollie, thanks for asking me to do this, mate. So I'm going to share a few of my memories of the Sega Master System. And the first thing that I ever remember about the Master System, the first time I ever saw one, was at a video game show in Brighton, at a tiny place called the Corn Exchange. Now, it was actually mostly for home computers, so there was people there with their Spectrums, Commodore 64, Amstrads, and so on. And in the corner, there was the Master System. And I was just blown away. I remember being about 8 years old, looking at the screen, seeing these vibrant colours that were just nothing like the Commodore 64 ever could display. It was just fascinating. There was a few games actually. There was Alex Kidd, Hang On, and World Soccer. But it was Alex Kidd was the one that really, really got me. You know, everything was so smooth. Alex Kidd was moving around the screen quickly. It was scrolling so smoothly. And it was just amazing. I just thought, I've got to have one. I think this was actually before the Master System was released as well. And I'm not certain whether it was Areola Soft or Mastertronic who were showing it off. But I don't know. I would guess at it being Areola Soft because it was very early days, and like I didn't get one till quite some time after for my birthday. So yeah, I luckily got one, and I got it with a bunch of games. I got it with World Soccer, Bank Panic, Space Harrier, Outrun, Super Tennis. Quite a bunch of games, but they actually ended up being the only games I ever had for it. I don't remember with the Master System ever going out to buy new games. It was just like those were the games that I had, and you know, I made the most of them. I played them to death. The game that I've actually played the most on the Master System was World Soccer. And I remember as a kid, I used to pack up my Master System almost every weekend, put it back into its box and go to my friend Anthony's house. And we would play World Soccer all weekend. Literally, from the minute we wake up to the minute we went to sleep, we'd be playing back-to-back games. We'd be having penalty shootouts. And I love that game. You know, it's quite a cheap one. It's nothing special. And I think I've said it to you before in the past, but genuinely, I have played that game to death. And I think it's brilliant. Another thing that I remember with my Master System was the power supply. Now, the power supply had the earth pin on it, and that was plastic. And as a kid, that snapped off quite quickly. And obviously, because I was unpacking it and packing it, I remember as a kid, back in like the 80s and the 90s, you know, you couldn't die from electricity, so it was fine. But I used to get a pen, you know, stick it into the earth pin on the plug socket, put the plug in, because that was the only way you could get the plug socket to open up. And, you know, that was what my dad told me to do. You know, the normal thing. So that was it. Dicing with death of the Master System as well as a kid.
Trying to think of a memory related to the Master System. My best friend and I, when we were 8-9 years old, we both had a console, so we would kind of like hang out at each other's house all the time. For some reason, he kept on buying the great games, and I kept on buying the average games, right? Like, he bought Wonder Boy 3, and I bought Dynamite Ducks. And obviously, one is much better than the other. And I remember we bought Dynamite Ducks. It was, you know, somehow I found enough money. I got money through gifts or anniversaries. I forgot how. I had enough cash to buy Dynamite Ducks. And we go to this place to play it together. It's a 2-player game, as I recall. And we almost finished it on the first try. And actually, the only reason we didn't finish it is that my friend was so worried we would clear the game because he knew I kept on buying kind of like bad games, that he kind of like bumped into the console to make it crash or reset, just so that we wouldn't clear the game on the first try, because he didn't want to see my sad face having just bought a game and clearing it. And so, 6-9 months later, we somehow both accumulated enough money that we could each of us buy a game, and we go to the shop together and we browse for games. And I kind of lay my eyes on Cloud Masters, and he was looking at Zillion 2 because he really loved the first one, I think, and he said, I should buy Zillion 2. And I had Cloud Master in my hand, and I was really worried I would buy again. It was way too easy. And the box for Cloud Master would say something like, round 5, right? And I thought, oh, this game has only 5 rounds. It must be really, really easy. And so the last minutes, instead of buying Cloud Master, I bought Zillion 2. Okay, the same game my friend was buying, which was really stupid because we could have swapped game anyhow. So we both went home with Zillion 2. And the irony is, as you know, Zillion 2 is quite a short game, an easy game, while Cloud Master is really hard game that would have lasted me, a decade. And yeah, so I made a mistake again. Bad luck.
Right then guys, Explore VCI here with my Master System memories. Just before we start, slight camera up yet again. That's my Mark 1 Master System. I had it about 10 years I think now, didn't pay much for it. But to me this is what the Master System is all about, just the Mark 1 classic shape. Never been a big fan of the Master System 2. This has still got the protective plastic on it as well, which is quite a rarity and nice. But yeah, that's my Mark 1 Master System. Now, with the Master System, to me, it's really the console that kind of broke the British public into console gaming. Without it, I think we'd all pretty much be still using home computers really in the UK. In the UK at the time, everyone was really desperate to have like an arcade experience at home, and the Master System just provided that for everybody really. Not like a near arcade perfect experience like we get with kind of the Mega Drive and the Saturn later on, but the ports and conversions on the Master System were a lot better than anything you kind of got on 8-bit and 16-bit micros at the time. So I've got really fond memories of the Master System. It just reminds me of a really happy time in my life. The dawn, as I said before, console gaming in the UK. One of my friends at school had one. I was so envious of him. I couldn't convince my parents to get one because A, it didn't have a keyboard, you couldn't do computer stuff on it, and they weren't prepared to shell out £30-40 on games for it, which kind of makes sense really. But yeah, he had Double Dragon, Black Belt, and yeah, just really fond memories of going around there and playing on it really. And that kind of paved the way obviously for the Mega Drive to kind of blow up the way it did in the late 80s in the UK. It was imported in and then it came in officially later on. So huge fond memories of the Master System. It's a console that hold really dear to my heart. And as I say, without it, we probably in the UK would be gaming the way we do without that really. I know it didn't do very well in America and Japan, but it was a huge success here in the UK. Europe and Brazil I think are still massive about it now. And I think in the late 80s and very early part of 1990, it was that kind of stepping stone into kind of good quality at-home arcade games, not the rushed, horrible UK software as reports we got. And then when the Master System 2 came out and there's a really established kind of British user base for it, it was like that really budget entry into gaming. If you couldn't afford a Mega Drive, or perhaps as a parent you didn't want to buy a Mega Drive for a smaller child, the £50 I think it was Master System 2, with Alex Kidd preloaded, was great. And then there was like loads and loads of games coming out with it, probably more than the Mega Drive during the early part of the 90s, 91, 92, because it was so popular in the UK. So always got good coverage in magazines and Mean Machines and things like that. So awesome. And then before I go, I'd just like to obviously show you the box art. Now it's got a lot of critics, but I remember as a kid, seeing this in toy shops and things like Toys R Us and just thinking how kind of futuristic and utilitarian that looked. I mean, we look back now and the artwork is dreadful, but I think that white checker box design is just iconic really. And now they've got that in the US market as well. And we look back in horror now, but I think they've played it right, Sega at the time really, with that kind of look. It stood out really, and it was good positive thing. Right, thanks guys, in a bit.
Hey gamers, you have Tiger Chainsaw here. And first, I just wanted to thank Ollie, aka 8-Bit Boy UK, for inviting me onto his channel to tell a story about the Sega Master System. Ollie produces wonderful content, and he is my go-to expert for whenever I have questions about the Master System. So let's get into my story about the Master System. We're going to take it all the way back to 6th grade. Now in 6th grade, to give you a time capsule of the time, the PS2 was already out. And so I still had the Master System, and I had the PS1, and I also had the PS2. But there were times when my friends would come over, and I still wanted to show them the Master System. So one of these weekends, I had a friend come over, and I'm going to be polite, but this friend of mine was not the smartest kid in class. He was street smart, but he just didn't really care about learning or education, and he never really had good grades. Well, I introduced him to the Master System, and one of the games that we absolutely got hooked on was Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? We must have played this game the entire weekend. And what was really special about it was that he was so invested into this game. And so we started out as the bottom rung of a detective, and we started to work our way up the detective class. And you do this by having to solve, the criminal cases, where these criminals are at. You have to track them down. But in order to do so, you have to learn about countries, and you have to learn about their languages, their landmarks, what type of money they have. All of these factors go into determining where the criminals are in the game of Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. And so my friend, who again was not very good at school, he could not put this game down. He busted out a big globe that I had. He was going through the manual. He was flipping through all the flags and, on the internet searching for what language does this country speak? What money do they have? Where's this landmark? And he really got hooked onto this game. And I just thought that was so cool because it just goes to show the power of gaming. And when something's fun, something is fun. And it doesn't matter if it's educational, but Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego was one of my favorite memories that I had growing up, because we could have been playing the PS2. We could have been playing Grand Theft Auto, but instead I chose to show this kid the Master System, in which he had never seen before, and it really took off with him. He loved it, and he loved playing Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. And I'll always remember him rolling the globe around, trying to find the country. And to me, that just goes to show you what an awesome experience the Master System is, whether it is a shoot 'em up, a racing game, an RPG, or in this case, an educational game. And so that is my story of Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, when I was playing it in 6th grade with a buddy of mine. So Ollie, thank you for giving me a platform to share a Master System memory. This console is very special to all of us in the community, and I'm so thankful, Ollie, that you continue to be a leader for the Master System and keeping the spirit of this awesome console alive. So once again, I am Tiger Chainsaw. Thank you so much for having me on.
Hello friends who are watching this video. Ollie, thank you for the invitation, and I promise I will be fast. I am Marcos and I'm speaking from Brazil, and forgive me if my English is not so good. I swear I'm trying hard. And about the Master System, I have a story that marked my childhood. My first contact with the console was through a friend of mine, and we were kids and he got the Master System. I must have been happier than he was, since the Master System was a success and everyone wanted one. Well, when the day came to install the video game, we were very anxious and crazy to start playing. After video game was taken out of the box and connected to TV, to our surprise, the console was defective. It was the biggest game over of our lives. So the console went back to the store to be exchanged. We had to wait for a new one to arrive, and so did I. Those were very sad days. But then everything worked out and we played a lot of Alex Kidd Miracle World. That's it. Great from Brazil to everyone.
And obviously, my best memory about the Master System is playing this. And I didn't actually own the game. My best friend owned the game, but he would lend it to me for long stretches of time. And it took me a long time to clear it. And one of my fond memories is that I played this game with my brother. And there aren't so many games that I played with my brother because he was a little older than me, and it stopped playing video game pretty early. But Wonder Boy 3 we played together, and I remember waking up at night and we tried to beat the boss like Captain Dragon. I remember it was very hard to beat that boss for us at the time. I don't remember why, because it seems very easy for me now, almost like the easiest boss. But at the time we didn't get the pattern, we didn't have best equipment. And of course we were playing all those games in Wonder Boy 3 without any help sheets, any walkthrough. We're just discovering the game by our own, so it took a long time to play it. And I fondly remember this game, obviously. And it's been my dream game for a long time. And then about 96, 97, I went back to the Master System through emulations, and then I dug my system back, and Wonder Boy 3 was the game that I kind of replayed the most. So something like 7 years later, it's still stuck with me. And of course, 20 years, 30 years later, it's still my favorite game, and it's still the game that I'm very happy and proud that I contributed in remaking. I'll show you something that an artist made for us, which was an amazing statue of the pig shopkeeper for Wonder Boy 3. Enjoy!
Okay, so my first memory of Sega Master System was Christmas, either 87 or 88. I'm not 100% sure when I got mine. It was got for Christmas Sega Master System Plus with the gun, or the phaser is the technical term, as I now know, not then. And it was great, I wasn't expecting it, and it was a penny short of £100 then, which is a lot of money, especially for my family, because we didn't have a lot, so it was a big surprise. And I absolutely loved it. It came with Hang On and Safari Hunt, and it's we all played it. My mum played some games. My dad, I couldn't get the phaser off of me, was playing Safari Hunt, and we had some games. The very first game, well, I had two games that came with it. First one was Choplifter, which even now it brings back memories as soon as I put it on. An Action Fighter, which is also one of my favourites, or is my favourite, which I'll talk about in a minute. But yeah, so that Christmas was very special because it was something I wasn't expecting. It was a big present, and we spent a lot of time on it. So, what got me back into Sega Master System? Well, strange enough, a couple of Christmases ago, strange how these things happen at that time of year, I was just on YouTube and I came across a video by a guy called Retro Rewind, Clint, if everybody knows who he is. And he was going through his full UK PAL set. So I watched this video and I thought, that's great, I feel like I could do that. There was a lot of reminiscing going on. And I work in Stockport and there's a CX, and I just thought, do you know what, I'm just going to go in there, buy a game, have a feel of it, look at the manual, and see if I do want to start collecting, or whether it's literally it was just to have a feel of it and reminisce about what it used to be like. So I went in, had Choplifter in, which was one of my first games, and one of them I really enjoyed. So I got the game, sitting there on the high street on a seat, looking at it, the manual, the cartridge, the box, the grid lines. I just thought, yeah, I think I do want to start collecting these again, and that's how it happened. I got into it 2 years ago after watching Clint's video, and started collecting. I'm up to about 180 games now. I'm not in any rush because I also collect laser discs, so a bit of a retro thing going on there. So I'm not in this avenue to get everything done as quick as possible. I'm enjoying taking my time. I've bought some big hitters, which allows me to then focus on the cheaper ones later on down the line. So I'm not in any rush. I'm enjoying just either buying a laser disc or buying a Master System game or something like that. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. So my most prized game is a fairly big hitter. It's not the one I've paid the most money for, but it is still a fairly rare one, and it's Home Alone. I love the cover. I thought it was strange when I first saw it because this was not a game I had when I was younger. And when I was watching Clint's video, I saw the front of the box and it's got the speech bubble "Holy Cow" on it, and I just thought Clint had actually just cut that out and put it on himself. But obviously it's on the box. But it's become a really rare game to get complete. Price wise, it's up there, but it's not massively expensive. But the rarity is it's definitely one of my prized possessions. Okay, favourite games to play. Choplifter. I still like Choplifter mainly because that was one of the first games I ever got. That came with my dad bought that with the console, so that was one of my favourites. Wonder Boy. This is also one of my favourites, mainly because I used to play that in the arcade before I even got the Sega Master System. So we used to go to the coast, play in the arcades, and that was a game I really, really enjoyed. The other game, as I said before, was Action Fighter. So the reason I like Action Fighter and the reason my father liked it, he used to play a game called Spy Hunter, which I then got into, and it was basically a similar sort of thing where you're driving around shooting people, the lorry comes up, you get in the back of it, and you get some sort of special weapon, whether it's oil slick, smoke screen, or surface-to-air missiles, and that's very much similar to that. So Action Fighter's got a very close place in my heart, so I tend to collect variants of that as well. So whether it's just the European ones with German, American. I'm also dabbling in a bit of Mark III, so I'm trying to get that for that. But yeah, I think Choplifter, Wonder Boy, and Action Fighter, without doubt, my favourite games to play. Favourite item I own, Master System wise, has to be the sports pads, although I never use them. I remember seeing them in catalogues when I was towards the end of when I was sort of leaving the Master System era. I can't remember when that was or why it was, but I do remember seeing the sports pads in the catalogues and thinking they looked really cool, but never got one. They were quite rare in the UK. But I do spend a lot of time travelling in America, so I've been able to pick up the American version. I do have a Japanese version. So I do have these complete and, complete in box, all the polystyrene, registration cards, instructions. So I think my sports pads are probably my most favourite thing I own because I never had them when I was younger. Okay, so my aims for 2025 and on is just to carry on building out the collection. I'm not going too far into variants, but I do want to do the UK PAL set. I'm working on the classics. 3 short of having a full set for the classics as a subset. Kicks, US goals, so that's the plan. Maybe some US variants that you can't get over here. And I'm sort of dabbling in the Mark III world as well. Not massively, just if I see them cheap enough, then I'll grab them. So yeah, that's it. That along as laser discs is it. You just got to keep going, keep collecting, and I think the important thing is to enjoy it. So that's my plan, bit by bit, and just carry on and enjoy it.
What's going on, everybody? Crazy Epics here. Right, I'm here because 8-Bit Boy UK Ollie has asked me for some early memories of Master System. To me, my earliest memories was getting the Master System 1 with Hang On Safari Hunt built in, probably very close to release, for Christmas. So I had that, and I had, I don't know what games I got with it, but I remember absolutely hammering Hang On for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. And then I started to build up a small collection. My dad would always say if I completed a game, like throughout the week, we could go to Toys R Us, we could buy another game. I always kind of went more for the platformers, so Asterix and like your Alex Kids and things like that, Mickey Mouses. So absolutely loved them. And then one day my sister spilt a fizzy drink onto my Master System 1, wouldn't work anymore. My dad threw it out and he went to Toys R Us and brought me the Master System 2. Had Alex Kidd built in, so for a while I was struggling to try and complete Alex Kidd in Miracle World. I'm sure I eventually did, but I just started building up more and more and more and more games, and as a kid it was absolutely amazing. So I probably had around 60-ish, 60 to 70 games. Teddy Boys, Ghost House, Asterix, Alex Kids, all the Mickey Mouse games, Donald Duck games, loads like that. And then come just before COVID, I was like, I want to get one. I had one when I was a kid. I want to get one again. So picked one up, literally 20 quid off Facebook. I modded it to put the RCA outputs, run it into an HDMI upscaler, and that's how I play now, onto a monitor, and started building up the collection I had as a kid, or trying to remember games I had as a kid. And then Ollie reached out, said he does the Master System Challenge, or hashtag Master System Challenge. So I started doing them, and then seeing him do the challenges made me want to buy the game, and one thing led to another. I was getting, 2/3, 3/4 of the way to a full set, and today we do have the full UK PAL set. Just doing cards, the card games and the classic games now, but I absolutely love the system. Graphically it still isn't bad at all. I prefer it over the NES, which was obviously the rival, but yeah, just really happy to have a full set, still be able to play the Master System, and have met some amazing people along my journey, like Ollie, Clint, James, everyone that is in the WhatsApp group. It's just a really good community. There are some bad eggs in the community, but there is in every community. But just really glad to, have the social interaction of like-minded people that love the Master System. I hope you enjoyed my story, and if you're not subscribed to me, give me a look. You never know, you might like me. But if you're not subscribed to Ollie, what are you doing? I know he does a lot of new school things now, but it's alright, he'll be back. Anyway, cheers Ollie, and I'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye.
Hiya guys, hope all is well with you guys. I just wanted to share a couple of little stories about Sega Master System memories, as Ollie, aka 8-Bit Boy UK, had asked me to do so. So yeah, I'll just crack on. So I'm going to start, I guess, with the memory of how I got my first game, which was this one, Alien Syndrome. So I got my Master System Christmas, I think 1988, and went, got loads of good stuff with the Master System. Got Hang On Astro Warrior with the system, got Shinobi, got Space Harrier and Choplifter, and that was an amazing system to get at the time. Amazing package. My dad spent a fortune, and I know that he later found out that he regretted how much these games cost, because if he had known at the time, I really doubt we would have got the Master System. But yeah, so I had a great Christmas with the Master System, but my birthday's in April, and come April I was looking at new games, and where could I turn to find out what new games I had? Well, it was just so happened that every single Master System game that I got had come with a poster. Something like this. Take hold of the Sega Adventure. I love this poster. Absolutely love it. It's great. Look at that. It's so 80s. It's brilliant. Anyway, so I remember looking for ages at this selection of games on the back of the poster, and I'm pretty sure it was this one. And I scanned through them all, looking at what could be my next game. And for some reason, I'd taken a real fancy to the Alien Syndrome game up here. Don't know why. That's all you went on. A single screenshot on some poster. And yeah, so decision was made. And with that decision made, my mum and my dad took me down to Virgin Megastore on Argyle Street in Glasgow. And it was like the Master System Mecca back then. You could go downstairs and there was like rows and rows of games. It seemed like that at the time, but you know, your memory when you're younger is slightly different from how it is in reality. But yeah, I'd never seen so many games, and I remember spending a bit of time flicking through them. Eventually found the game I wanted, Alien Syndrome. I was like, yes, here it is. You know, I was getting a game. I chose this already. My sister was getting a game. She was still looking for her games. So in the meantime, I thought, oh, I'll look at what else there is. And picked out Wonder Boy. And I was kind of like, Wonder Boy looks good. So I kind of thought, well, change my mind. I'll get Wonder Boy instead. And I said to my mum, I was like, you know, can I get Wonder Boy instead? I've changed my mind. She was like, Andrew, you have spent the last 2 months looking at that catalogue. And you have chose that game. Now, if you go home and you've changed your mind and then you're unhappy, then no, you're getting that game. And so with that, I kind of made a choice on what my first game should be. And I came away with Alien Syndrome, and my sister got Lord of the Sword, which I'm pretty sure she regretted later on, or my dad regretted, I should say, to be honest, because he had to like map out the whole thing and help us play it, and I don't know, he maybe enjoyed it actually, I'm not sure. But if I ask him now, I'm pretty sure he'll remember that he didn't like it. But yeah, this game was actually pretty good. It was quite scary actually for me at the time. I must have been like 7 or something like that. And, you know, there's nothing scary about the game when you look at it now. It's cartoony and, you know, there's nothing in there at all. But back then, I'd never played anything like this. It's kind of like eerie music. You know, digitised screams from the male character Ricky and the female character Mary. And yeah, although I'd heard that before in Space Harrier, you know, this seemed to be different. It was about scary aliens capturing you and doing strange things to you and all that. But yeah, so that's how I got my first game. That's how I chose it, kind of. I really did enjoy this game. You know, I haven't finished it yet, but I'm hopeful at age 44 that I will at some point finish the game. So, anyway, yeah, so the next one I was going to talk about quickly was Action Fighter. Now, I got this game, again, another birthday, maybe been a couple of years later on, and it was in the Index Catalogue shop. And I remember that's how you found your games back then as well. You got a catalogue, you looked through the games and you picked the one you want. But this was kind of like in their budget range of games. It was like $9.99 for a game, I think, or $12.99, I can't remember. But I always thought this was like a magnifying glass, and I couldn't really understand what that had to do with Action Fighter. But as it turns out, it's a motorcycle mirror, which makes sense. Yeah, I can see that now. But yeah, so I got this game, and pretty glad I got this game. It's a great game, you know. It's basically a spy hunter for the Master System. Great little shoot 'em up. Completed this many times and thoroughly enjoyed it. Along the same kind of lines, again, I think I went back a little bit later on, and I also got Fantasy Zone. Again, another cheapie, but another absolute golden game. Anyway, that's me. Thanks very much, guys. Take care, and I'll see you soon, alright? Bye now.
Guys, thank you ever so much for watching the video. If you've made it this far, then it's very much appreciated. I just wanted to say a big thank you to everybody that contributed, that got involved, that shared their stories, their memories, their journeys with all of us, and they're on YouTube now forever, hopefully. I just wanted to give a big shout out to, I guess, everybody that isn't quite as comfortable in front of the camera. You know who you are, the unsung heroes. But yeah, all very much appreciated just as much. On that note, I wanted to share one last story about one such person, and that's Pedder. So it's just a story about Pedder that, you know, the first time I met him. So I was talking with my mate Andy, who we saw in the video earlier on, and Andy knew that I was just starting to collect Master System games and trying to buy stuff up. I'd been let down on a really big deal from a guy that ended out to be a reseller, and I didn't know, just wanted the profit. And look, nothing wrong with that, it just wasn't what I was looking to do. And yeah, I introduced me to, oh, I know this Pedder, you know, Norwegian chap who, you know, he's looking to sell or move on a few games. I've known him for years and years from the forums. I think Pedder was from one of the other forums, whereas my years before, I'd mainly stuck to SMS Power, I think. I mean, he's probably on there too, but anyway, so got chatting to Pedder on, I think it was the forums initially, and then email, and he started emailing me these pictures of this like epic collection, and yeah, agreed to go on this road trip and meet him with all of these games. And I bought 1,000 quid's worth of games, 101 games I bought all in one go. Just amazing. And you don't realise, like, that's the beginning of a journey and a friendship, and we still talk every day. We sort of see each other probably 2-3 times a year as well, as I do with Clint, Andy, and a lot of the other boys as well. And it's just, I suppose, the community that we've created, I suppose, between all of us now is pretty tight. And yeah, it's just a wonderful thing to be part of. Guys, that's it. Again, thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to making a few more of these in the future. All the best.